If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Warren Buffett. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. I'm so excited to bring you today's episode. I love connecting with other women business owners and learning from them. Imagine, as a little girl driving around with your single mother, looking at fancy homes, and only imagining how the other half lived behind those doors. Fast forward to today, and my guest owns over 64 houses and is working on building her 4th business to add to her growing entrepreneurial resume. Samantha Phillips Hayes is the founder and CEO of Atlas Real Estate Wealth Advisors, PhillipsandCo Real Estate, Half-Full Insurance Company, and justagirlCEO. Join me today for a candid conversation with Sam, who shares what led her down the real estate path, how dealing with toxic personnel reveals her people-pleasing tendencies, and what keeps her and her businesses moving forward. Trust me, you do not want to miss this episode. Samantha, I am so excited to have you with me today. Thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Absolutely. I'm really happy to be here.
Sam, tell me this. I like to call you Sam because I feel like we're friends. Tell me,
Yes,
what was
of
the
course.
problem you were trying to solve when you started your business?
Yes, I started in real estate 17 years ago. And I bought my first house at 23. And then I got into real estate and helped people find homes. But there was a quote by Warren Buffett that always stuck with me, which is try to figure out a way to make money while you sleep. And I always thought that was so cool because I'm like, yeah, building the wealth aspect out of our company, where we make portfolios for people that they can retire on based on real estate. That's basically what I've been doing. And I find that, especially with business owners, we work and we work and we work, and there's no end in sight. And this basically puts investments in place so that there is an end in sight, right? And the investments do the hard work and they make the money versus, us having to hustle every day and make it. So that's kind of what I was trying to do.
I love that Warren Buffett quote. And I so agree. It's so nice to wake up and see that you've made money. It's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do for your customers or clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a couple different businesses, all in real estate. We buy and sell real estate. So that's the easiest thing. I have a brokerage called Atlas Real Estate. So I have 15 agents that work with me who I've trained on normal buy and selling of real estate, but also building wealth in real estate. So buying those real estate investment properties. Then I have my real estate portfolio. We have 64 doors here in Metro Atlanta. And that's really the money maker of making money while I sleep. And then we also have an insurance company. So we do residential and commercial and business insurance, kind of everything in the real estate world, but those are all the various things that we do.
I'm always interested in like cross marketing, right? Do you market your insurance to your clients that are renting your homes?
Absolutely. I have a fun quote that I always say, which is sell your sawdust, right? Basically, what I realized is doing real estate, I started meeting agents who really wanted to work with me. That's when I created the team and the brokerage. Then we have all these properties, and why not help them get renter's insurance? Because, for 200 bucks a year, they can protect themselves in case a tree falls or something like that. And then also for all of our real estate clients that we help, we get insurance for them. And then all my business owner buddies, like I help them get, liability and business insurance as well. It just kind of all goes together. Whenever somebody would ask me about something, I'd be like, yeah, we do need that. And then I would just keep adding. So we just launched the insurance company. We've had it for about a year, but we launched it publicly because obviously I need insurance for all my 64 doors as well. So I was like, well, I might as well, be making some money on this. So I got a partner, and that's pretty much what I do with all my businesses. I get a really powerful who that I connect with. And that's how I'm actually at a point where all my businesses are self managing. I'm in a really good spot so that those who's are kind of running the day to day, and I'm the visionary of that.
That's beautiful. I will be so glad when I get there. I'm not quite there yet.
You'll get there, girl.
I know. I'm working on it. That is like the mission for the next 12 months is I read the book Who Not How. It
Yep.
was actually a Boss Up Books episode. And I do think that it's really important to have the right who's in place. That's what I'm working on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm rereading that right now, actually.
I've read it 3 times,
Yeah, this
trying to
this will be
really
2 or 3 for me as well.
ingrain it in my brain to think
Yeah.
differently. Tell me this 17 years ago, you started your business. What have you found to be your biggest challenge over these past 17 years?
Well, I was thinking about this earlier, and it's not something like the standard thing, because I think for women, we have different challenges. And I'll tell you, one of the worst parts about building this business was hiring people that I really thought were my people and that I really was supporting. And I found out they were talking about me badly. And that was a really big challenge for me because I am a recovering people pleaser, as I say. And, I always cared about what people thought about me, but I was still like girl bossing it and like making this huge empire. But my people closest to me that I thought had my back were, I had one person specifically who was just toxic and just kind of talking about me. And that was really, really hard for me. And that feels kind of like a weak response, because I feel like a man would never have that response, right? But that's really what the truth is for me, is that that really hurt me, inside. There was COVID and 2020 and all that craziness, but that was probably the hardest thing. And that was maybe like 10 years ago that I kind of went through that bubble.
Yeah. And I think it's hard too when you're cheerleading and supporting people and you feel like you have their back. And then when you feel
Yes,
like they have your back and then you find out they don't have your back, that's
absolutely.
hurtful. And I think that even though a man may not respond with that to answer that question, if they've gone through that process, I do think it impacts them just maybe not just the same, but it does impact them in some way, you
Yeah.
know?
It's hurtful for everyone. I mean, whenever that happens, I think. But I'm really thankful that I've grown out of that aspect. And I don't know if it was becoming a better leader. I read a lot of leadership books after that point. I was like, well, maybe it's me, as we do as women. But now I'm really grateful and thankful for my team that I have now, my ops manager has been with me going on 8 years. Just, having those people, and you're doing the right thing, or that you're doing a good job, right? When someone stays with you that long, I feel like I'm really
Yeah.
happy to say that I'm through those challenges at this point.
And you've recovered. Very good. Very
I've
good.
recovered.
Tell me, if you could go back and tell your younger self something, I don't know if it would relate to that or not, but what would be something you would tell yourself if you could go back and talk to your younger self?
There was this, I read a lot, right? And so I always have these quotes and things that catch me and I just kind of hold on to. And there was this picture or painting or something that I saw once, and it said, you can be the juiciest, ripest peach in the whole world, but there's still going to be people that don't like peaches. And to me, that's it, right? It's people might not like me, but they're in a misunderstanding. And if I can be the best person I am every day, that's all that matters, right? And
Mm.
the advice that would kind of go with that is surround yourself with a little fan club, right? Getting into EO at the Entrepreneurs Organization has been amazing because they're quirky people like me building businesses, like we're crazy, starting from scratch. But you find your little niche and your people, right? That you really connect with, that really see you, get you, respect you, and you get and respect them back, right? And surround yourself with those people. I mean, why not? That's what I've really been focusing on, is just like surrounding myself with people that think I'm awesome, I think they're awesome, and that I really enjoy spending time with. I wish I would have started that about 20 years ago, but
Yeah.
now it's good.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's hard when you have people in your life that aren't like that, you know? You kinda have to move them out of the way, pull those
Yeah.
weeds, and truck on.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find, especially for newer people jumping into business, is funding. You know, finding the money to start your business, to kickstart your business, to market your business, to do all the things. How did you go
Mhm.
about funding your business?
Yeah. Well, so I started working when I was 12 years old, and I just have always worked and saved money. And so when I started real estate, I mean, real estate is 100% commission, right? It is very difficult to manage your money, but it just luckily had been always something I was good at. I basically just started slow. As I would make money, then I would buy a property. Or as I would make, I'd sell a nice big house and I'd put some money away for some marketing or whatever. I always say make learning sized mistakes and just kind of grow slowly. That's what I did. I'm really thankful I'm completely 100% self funded from the very beginning for all my different businesses. I would just hit a new level and then I would invest in the business. I didn't do much with, I did do like some traveling and stuff like that, but I never bought expensive cars or anything like that. I always just rolled it back into my business, until I got to that point where I had quite a bit in the bank and could just kind of have some fun. But I believe it's in Good to Great. They talk about bullet versus cannonball. I think it's in that book. But basically starting out with a bullet, like really small, and trying it, try two or three different things and see what works. And then when you have that success and you have that ROI, then cannonball it through everything you've got. And then you know that your money that you're spending is worthwhile on that. And that's kind of what I've done. And it's just really works well for me.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
always tell people one of the piece of advice that I give people when they are starting their business is to save a minimum of 10% of every dollar you make. And that was something that we did really early on, benefited us. And then somehow we kind of stopped doing that. But I recommend that people do that. And if you can keep that up for a long time, you really do build your own reserves and you don't really need, unless you're doing something really big where you need more funding, but you may be able to fund it yourself if you've been saving along the way. Now, you've mentioned lots of quotes, lots of books, and I love this because I read a ton of business books and fiction
Mhm.
and all
Yeah.
the things. But tell me, what would you say? And you can name more than one, but if you had to pick one that has really, that you feel like really changed you or really made a difference in your business, what would
Yeah.
that book be?
All right. So my first one is Rich Dad Poor Dad
Mm,
because that totally changed. I grew up pretty poor. My mom was a waitress and it was just, me and her and, lived with my grandparents for a while and stuff like that. Thinking from the mindset of you've got to go to college, got to do the 9 to 5 and, work for your money. And then reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and realizing, instead of buying a Lamborghini, buy the rental house that's going to make the payments that's going to pay for that Lamborghini. And to me, that mindset has been everything. That's when I first started investing in real estate. And it's just kind of gone on from there.
oh, I love that. And I love that book. We even bought the game and
We have it too. Cash flow. Cash
yeah,
flow 101. We make our kids play it with us.
yeah. I
About
think
getting
we
out of the
played
rat race. Yeah.
yeah, I think we've played it with our kids once, but now that you bring it up, we should do that. It's summer, we need to play that game with them again because it
Yeah.
is a really great game and it's something about real estate. I'm not in it as much as you are. We did buy our commercial space for our business and I did have a rental property for a while, sold it right before COVID hit. But it was a great come up because we held it for, let's see, 20 years and
Nice. Very
made a
good.
decent profit on it, and was able to
Yeah.
invest some in the business and some in our current home. It was really great. How do you go about currently with your businesses? You may have multiple answers to this, but how do you go about marketing your businesses?
Well, for the longest time, my real estate was repeat and referral business. We were 81% repeat and referral. People coming back to us, people referring their friends to us. Now, we do, because I've been in the business so long, we've got literally 20,000 leads that we've gotten through Zillow and Realtor.com. And we've created a nurturing email database that drips on people. And it just kind of keeps giving back to us at this point, which has been really good. But I'll tell you what's cool with the real estate investment side of it is to grow. All I need to do is buy more properties. And I love having that control. So we decided this year that we're going to add 48 doors. And so that's going to be 12 doors per quarter. First quarter, we hit it with 13. And I kind of hurt my crew and my my systems broke a little bit, which was awesome because I love that. But yeah, so it's fun because all you have to do is find the properties, which is like my favorite thing to do. That's my superpower. And then we grow the business. And our goal is $600 per profit per door. As we add doors, I'm literally adding profit to my month and to my year, which is just a really cool way to grow a business.
I love it. How do you manage all of these properties, Samantha?
That's a really good question. My team manages them. We manage in house. My operations manager and my husband, who's my partner in that business, and we have an intern. And I've read all the books about it, and we've tried to hire people out, but because we are in a super growth stage, there's costs for maintenance and all that kind of stuff, and we're just in a stabilization mode. We can't really give out that 8 to 10% plus the extra on top of the maintenance. For right now, we're keeping it in house. And then in the next 3 years, our goal is to have it all completely out with a property management. Whether we create a property management company in house and continue to do that, don't love property management, but sell your sawdust, right? So it's if we're already doing a property management company, and we got it figured out, then why not, allow that to other people to use that. But
Yeah. I was going to say, it sounds like you're about to create a property management company.
I'm really trying not to. Like I've already had one once and I was like, I don't like this. It's so many. I mean, I'm a big picture visionary, right? So many
Mhm.
details and it's not my jam. But if I found the right who
Right.
might want to run the property management company and loved that, like our intern really loves property management, then why not? I mean, it just would
Right.
make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You seem like you're definitely a numbers person. How important are knowing numbers in your business? Any
Yeah.
business.
I joke with my friends. I say I like numbers if it has a dollar sign on it, right? That's the only numbers I like. I didn't like algebra and all that mess, but it's so important, and especially being in real estate and having a team. I had three people working for me and I thought I was making all this money. When I finally did my P&L, I was like negative, right? I have just been so into numbers since then. And I look at my numbers. I have a dashboard that I've created that pulls in from all my spreadsheets so that at any time I can look at and see where we're at year to date and see what our goals are and stuff like that and all the various things. And that's huge. And, I coach an accountability group and we're always talking about numbers. If you don't know your numbers, how are you going to grow, and there's so many different ways that you can cross them, right? Like you can look at this compared to this. But to me, a lot of people focus on total revenue, right? Or revenue for the year and stuff like that. To me, the only number that matters the most is profit. I mean, that's what I'm looking at 9 times out of 10. People want these big businesses with revenue, but if you're not keeping any of that money, like what's the point? So now my goal right now for this year is a pretty big number that I'm focused on for profit through all the businesses. I definitely would keep an eye on that, but then, all the other there's lead indicators, lag indicators, a million of them. So it just kind of depends which where the problem spot is in your business is. I focus there, like at the top of the funnel, fix that and then go to the next one. Fix that, go to the next one, until you get to that profit number that you want.
Yeah. I like that so much because I feel like, especially in today's social media world, you have a lot of people who tout the revenue number. And I'm always
Right.
curious, okay, but how much did you spend on ads? And did you actually
Mhm.
make a profit? I always want to know, like, give me that bottom line
Right. And
number.
right. And how many hours did you work? Right. So to me, I always say design a life you love. And it's not just about the money you make, it's about your quality of life that how many hours a week or day are you working? Are you spending time with your loved ones? And that profit number, I have a coach and we always look at high impact, low effort. And at first, when he said that, I'm like, that sounds lazy. And he's like, no, you're the visionary. You've been doing this 17 years. You get the high impact stuff. It's hard to do, it's your superpower, but it doesn't take you as long. Have you read 10X is easier than 2X? It's one of my
Yeah.
favorites right now.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was a awesome
So,
book episode too.
that's right. So it's 150 recovery days that they want you to take in that book, right? And when you have your, I forget what performance days, those are the days you're on. You're really doing things that are really going to make an impact in your business. So I really try to work 3 days a week, and that's it. And I have a meeting day when I'm with my team and helping them do all the stuff they need and removing roadblocks for them. And then I have 2 growth days, things that I'm doing that are important and urgent, or important and non-urgent, that are on my, my big rocks that I'm trying to do. That's how I kind of grow the fastest possible.
I love it. One of the things that I like to talk about, and you kind of touched on it, is like I call it living life by your design. And to me, the biggest way to do that is to set intentions, right? To set goals and intentions around those goals. How did you get here? Did you set goals along the way? Like how do you formulate your life so that you are living the life you love or living life by design? How did you do
Yeah.
that? How do you get there?
It's funny. I love vision boards. I mean, obsessed. I love reading. I love magazines. I get like 10 magazines a month. And my kids always kid with me because I'm always like ripping things out. We just have like shreds of paper everywhere. But whenever, every quarter or sometimes 6 months, whenever like I feel like my mindset shift, or that something, I'll read a new book or something like that that's really got me going, I'll create a new vision board. And that has really done well for me. Before I met Sam, I didn't meet my husband until I was 37. I built my business, I traveled, I had fun. And, it was always like love and like big diamond rings and stuff that were on my vision board. And now it's things about being a mom and things like that. But also, I put affirmations on there of things that I am already, but also things that I want to be more of. So I'm trying to get more into, so I've done a lot with mindfulness and breath work and stuff like that. So that's been on my vision board. And then, there's just like certain trigger words about like team and things like that that I put on that board. So that kind of sets my vision for everything. And then we've been running from the EOS system, just setting 3 to 5 big rocks a quarter. And there's a good book called The 12-Week Year, and basically just about taking it up into smaller bites, right? Instead of setting a goal for the year, setting a goal for the quarter. And it's just so much easier to get those done. And you end up doing a lot more. But I'm one of those people that I always set those big, huge, like hairy, audacious goals. Never hit it, like ever, right? But I think that fuels me, like the thinking big really
Yeah.
excites me. And so even though, and now I set a little bit more reasonable goals, although sometimes they're a little crazy and fun, but I have my regular goal, and then I always have a stretch goal. And I figure if you land somewhere there, it's fine. And it always takes longer than you think it's going to. I mean, that's something that I hear over and over again from entrepreneurs. And so, you start and you're like, I'm going to do this in 3 years. And you're like, okay, how about 8? But if you get there, it doesn't matter how long it takes, right? It's the journey. That's just some of the stuff I use for that.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a huge goal setter, and I take
Mhm.
my goals and I do a vision board, and then I do
Oh
Ethan introduced this vision movie thing to me, which I love. So I take my images from my vision board and put them in a photo album in my phone, and then I can put them on my watch. So every time I move my watch,
oh,
something pops up. And it's just helpful for me to think about, okay, have I worked on that this quarter or this week or this month, whatever it may be. It just kind of reminds me of things that I'm working on, be it personal things or, business related things. Because one thing on my vision board this year is it's a picture of a person playing a flute. And I used to play the flute in high school, and I was actually pretty good. But,
that's awesome.
you leave high school and you go off to college and you live your best life. I haven't really picked up my flute, in a while, but I got it refurbished. And
There
so
you
now
go.
it's just a reminder of like, okay, I need to practice scales. I don't do it every day, but like once a week or once every couple of weeks, I'll pull it out and play around, tinker. At some point, it'll get better, I'll get better. So, yeah.
That's
But
so fun. Yeah, Sam bought me a drum set for my birthday last year because I had told him I always wanted to play drums, and I've worked on it a little bit, but it's very hard. But it sits there, and it kind of reminds me of like, yeah, I'm gonna do that someday.
yes. Well, just like
It's
you
fun.
have that, business coach, we have to have accountability with these instruments too. It's like
Too.
at some point I have to like get my flute coach, or your drum instructor, because
Yeah, I've
they
thought
hold you.
about it. It's on
Yeah,
the list. Yeah.
they hold you accountable. Well, if you need one, as an aside, I know a great young man who teaches drums.
Oh, really? I'll get that from you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It was meant to be, I guess, to have that conversation, right?
yeah, he's really cool. He actually taught my son drums for 3 years, but Legend wanted to transition to piano. Yeah, but I can put you in touch with a great drummer.
Cool. Would love to. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Awesome. Samantha, who is your ideal client and what's the way they can reach you?
Right now, I mean, so obviously we sell real estate, literally anything, but I my passion is really helping people build wealth for their future, especially women, but we do help men as well. It's never too early to start, right? And so I would say like an ideal client is just someone who is interested in building wealth through real estate because I've trained all my agents on it. We educate, we do a quarterly seminar about building wealth in real estate. So just people who are interested in it and kind of get the bug and then kind of share that with their friends. And then it doesn't have to be something, where you have 64 doors. That's crazy, I know. It's surprisingly easy to retire on real estate, just picking a number. And so I would just say if someone's thought about real estate and kind of building wealth through there, we'd be happy to talk with them and kind of help them set goals and kind of see where they want to be and kind of help them fulfill that dream.
Yeah. I think 64 doors is amazing and really cool. At the end of this year, you said you're aiming to add 48, or
Hmm.
you'll have,
So we'll be around 100 by the
yeah,
end of the year.
2 or something.
Yeah, just
Oh,
100. It's fine.
yeah. I love it. Maybe I need to get more involved in real estate. We'll see.
I am obsessed with real estate. I tell you, it's like my favorite thing. I could talk about it all day long. So
Yeah.
it's what I tell people is one of my metaphors that I love to use is the golden goose and the golden egg, right? It's like we make money and then we buy stuff. But if you make money and you buy houses, then the golden goose lays the eggs over and over and over again. And then that pays for everything that you have. I mean, it makes so much sense when you look at like 90% of the world's billionaires have made their money through real estate. I mean, it really is just Rockefeller and Buffett and all these people, and it's just kind of where all the wealth is, and it's kind of a secret because people know it's there, but people don't realize that that's where people are really making all their money. It's pretty fascinating.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How difficult, let's say we can use me or someone else, how difficult is it to get involved in real estate? What type of money do you need to have in the bank? Or like, how do you get started?
It's so easy, like really so easy. Your first house that you buy, you only have to put 3% down. That's it. You could buy, let's say, a house for 200,000 and that's 6,000 down and that's it. Now, your first house, assuming you'd probably live in, right? That's why you get kind of lower financing. Then you live in that for 2 years. You have to live in it for 2 of 5 years to avoid capital gains where you would pay a lot of taxes. Actually, well, anyway, I have all these thoughts in my head. It's like my favorite thing. Then you fix that up, move it to the next place. You move to the next place, like nicer house, bigger, different area, whatever. And then you rent out your other place. And then you do that again and again. That's how I started. So I bought a 2-bedroom condo in Buckhead. At the time, it was 105,000. I'm back in the day. And the funny thing about condos are there's rental wait lists, right? And so you put your name on the wait list. 7 years later, I got to the top of the rental wait list, moved to the next place, rented that out. Next place I bought, I did the same thing until I'm in the place I'm in now. Like the place we just moved out of a year ago, we rented it. That's kind of how we got it. And then you're making money. You roll that money back into your next buy, right? And you kind of save it. If you just want to buy flat out an investment property, it's 20% down. So that can be kind of a lot. And people get nervous about that and they hear 20% down. But if you make the house that you're living in and you live there for a while and then move to the next one, you only have 3 to 5% in that house. And that's what people really do, to kind of get started. And then kind of they call it the snowball, and then you pay off and all that kind of stuff. But there's lots of really great books about that. There's one called Retire Early in Real Estate. I don't can't think of the author, but that's one of my favorites. And it's just easy because it's like, okay, you pick a number. Like, okay, I want to make 100,000 a year. And then you just work it backwards. So you say, okay, if each one of these makes me 6,000 a year in revenue or profit, whatever your numbers are, then you're like, okay, well, that means I need X number of these houses. And then you just go buy them. And
Yeah.
whether it takes you 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whenever your retirement is, it's different than stocks where you never know if it's going to be up or down or whatever. This is literally a formula. You want 100,000 or 200 or a million or whatever it is, then you just buy the properties to get you there. It's pretty fascinating, and it's not as hard as people think. And once you kind of figure out the formula and kind of create the plan, then you just execute your plan.
Okay, so
Does that make sense?
yes, it makes sense, and it makes me think, okay, if and when we move out of our current home, I'm gonna rent it and not sell
There you
it.
go.
I could possibly have 2 doors because I could break off the basement and have anyway, got me thinking.
Do
And
it.
then my second part to that though is because you actually made me curious. I'm not sure how many doors you had in 2020, but can you just, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you got to think about all the ins and outs of these things. What did that
Mhm.
look like for you if someone couldn't make their rent payment at that
Yeah.
time?
Yeah. I think I had about 35 doors or so because we have grown a lot in the last few years, but most of our rentals are affordable. We really try to stick with things that aren't that expensive to buy for us. Like I have a 10-unit apartment building in Clarkston. And so we didn't really have a lot of high rents. And I'll tell you, in 2020, we didn't have a single person that we had to evict. Everyone continued to pay their rents because for some reason, whatever was happening with COVID wasn't affecting the people in these properties. Now, I will tell you at the beginning of this year, with the recession hitting, we have had some people not being able to pay their rent, and that is difficult, right? But what I kind of tell people who ask me that question is if you have one property and they don't pay, you're screwed, right? If you
Mhm.
have 10 properties and one person doesn't pay, it makes it easier. Like for me, it's a volume thing. So I think I have two right now that are not paying out of the 64, and that sucks, but we're going to evict them. We have our systems and we evict them, and we really have been trying to screen better at the front because both my husband is Canadian. He's like the nicest person ever, right? And he puts people in there and he believes all their stories. But now we're doing more detailed, no evictions in the past, like having to have the income and just being a little stricter, being strict on the rules, not on people. And that has really helped. We haven't had to evict from that since we've done that. We haven't had to evict any of those people. They've all been paying rent. You just kind of learn, like over and over again, but it can be painful. The worst thing is if someone messes up your unit, especially when you've just renovated. That's like the most heart-wrenching thing for me. And we had one of those this year, and it's this place in Stone Mountain. It's a 4 bedroom, but honestly, I got it for such a great deal. It's probably evening out at this point. And you write that off, right? That's the other thing about real estate is you can write off all your depreciation. I wrote that off as bad debt, and that's just going to offset the income we made so we don't have to pay it to the government. That's my silver lining for that. But all things have the crappy parts of it, but I think to me it's the easiest way because it's a formula, you buy it, pays you money.
Yeah. Okay. couple more questions. The
Mhm.
word love to say at the end of every episode, now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss. Do you think about legacy?
Yeah. I have my 3 kids now that are Sam's babies from his first marriage, and they're teenagers now, 12, 14, and 16. And I think about leaving things and things like that, but more so teaching them stuff while they're here, right? And I really try to help them be good humans and good leaders now. They come to the houses with us. They can earn money with us. We explain to them how it works. We show them, oh, this is what happens if someone doesn't pay rent. They see the houses before we fix them up because usually we get pretty blighted properties. And we go in there. I mean, my girls, so they're 14 and 16, they can put together furniture, they can put together doorknobs. I mean, they can paint, they can practically do flooring, right? Just kind of giving them skills that they're going to go forward and share them with people. And then, obviously we have all these properties. At some point, we'll have to give them to them or sell them or something. We hope one of them will take over our business. We don't know, but and then, with the wealth building aspect, it's just helping other people retire. I've just seen so many people that, my dad was a doctor, and was it '08, I guess, came and like took away a lot of people's like retirement, like dropped it down like by 2/3. And I just think that that's such an antiquated way of looking at retirement, of having stocks that go up and down, right? If I can empower people to get into real estate and just use this for their wealth building and give it to their children and stuff like that, I think that that'll change some people's lives, I hope, so that they can retire and enjoy, the hard work that they've put into everything.
Right. Yeah. I love that mission. I love that mission and vision. It's amazing.
Thanks.
Sam, this has been great. I had one other question. As you have been in business for 17 years, what is one thing that has surprised you?
I would say, gosh, there's so many things. You know what it is? That's a really hard question. Here's something that surprised me. Being a woman CEO is like, I have my side company, Just a Girl CEO, that I'm working on mentoring girls and stuff like that. So that's really near and dear to my heart. But it surprises me that women CEO are not more respected. And it's like in this day and time, right? I mean, you would think that everyone would think, oh, you're a woman CEO, you're a badass. But, you know, dating, before I met my husband and stuff like that, here I am, the CEO making, all these business moves and all this stuff. Then I go on these first dates, and these guys would just have no respect or understanding of the hard work and everything that's behind it, and no empathy for the hard work and all the stuff, that's put into it. And that just really surprises me. Like, I just really would think that they would get it and that we would be accepted into that, echelon. And you still look now, and there's still not that many women CEO of 500 companies and Fortune, hundreds and stuff like that. I mean, I think we're getting there, but I am surprised that we're not further along, I would say.
Yeah.
That's my feminist take for the day.
No, I mean, I agree with that. I don't know. I feel like it's funny because yesterday, Legend, he and his sister, they kind of go back and forth sometimes.
Mhm.
And he said, "Girls, you guys just think you're smarter than us." And and it's funny because Iman and I both were like, "Well, yeah,
We don't think, we know.
that part." But anyway, it's
I
interesting.
remember one of the biggest insults, because my two youngest kind of go at it too, boy and girl. And I remember one time, this was years ago, but Isaac said, "Well, you're just a girl." And Rowan was so hurt by that. And I'm like, that's a compliment, right? I think, with us having boys, we have to make sure that they respect women and they see their, moms being awesome girl bosses. And I think that's the best thing we can do, is show
Yeah.
how cool we are, and they'll see that and respect and appreciate women and other girl bosses.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I know that's really important for me, not just with him, but also I do want my daughter to grow up and, do what her passion is. And if that's owning a business, I want her to rock it, and I'm sure she will.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's funny as us entrepreneurs, it feels like none of our kids are going to be entrepreneurs. Like they all want to be something else.
Yes,
They
that
see
is
how hard it is. We're like, oh, it's really great, actually.
really is great. I will say though, my kids, they do talk about doing other things, but eventually they both come back to, well, one day when I have my own business, but it's like they want to kind of test the waters, I think, in other places first, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
But Sam, this has been great. Thank you for taking the
Yeah,
time today to tell me all about your
absolutely.
business. Sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
you too. Thank you. This has been
Thank,
really fun.
thank you so much for joining me. Sam, thank you so much for being a part of the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Samantha's business info is in the show notes. Before I round out this episode, though, I want to share with you some of my top takeaways from my conversation with Samantha. First, I love the concept of sell your sawdust. Every business has some residual aspect, something left over from their primary operations. Take a company that cuts and sells lumber, for example. They end up with sawdust as a byproduct. Now, can they find a market need for that sawdust? This idea encourages us to look at our business byproducts and think creatively about how they might add value or meet a need in the market. Another concept is extending your existing business. Think about the additional needs that arise from your core operations. For example, Sam started as a real estate agent. Then she expanded to buying and renting homes. To support this, she created an insurance company to insure her properties and offer renters insurance. What other services or products could you provide to complement your primary business? Thirdly, there were so many takeaways around people. One, get rid of toxic personnel or toxic people around you. The other is find your people. As a business owner, you should have a support group, a support system. And Sam also talked about us as individuals not being for everyone. But truthfully, your business will not be for everyone. For our company, when it comes to decorated apparel, some of our customers really get it. They understand our custom capabilities and create the most unique items. But some people don't get our customization capabilities, nor do they get the costs associated with it. So truthfully, they're not our customer. The next thing is profit is the number we really need to pay attention to. Now, we know we all must have revenue to have a business, but profit is what allows us to grow that business and sustain that business. And though there were other takeaways, the last one I want to leave you with is establish growth days. This was one of the biggest ones for me because I'm going to do this for myself. I have not thought about it in this way in the past, but I'm going to start putting these on my calendar and blocking off this time each week. Time to really focus on growing our business. Sam, thank you for putting that in front of us. And thank you for tuning in today. I'm grateful for you. Take a moment to rate, review, share, and subscribe to the podcast. When you subscribe, you won't miss an episode because it's automatically downloaded to your phone. And lastly, be sure to visit monicaallen.com and sign up for the Level Up Living newsletter. The newsletter is all about living your best life as a business owner. It not only covers important business topics, but it also covers topics that will make your life a bit easier as an entrepreneur, and we can all use that. The link to sign up is in the show notes as well. And remember, now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.